I like this phrase that museums use, friend of the museum. It's so flattering to know that so many museums think of me as a friend, and it's the easiest friendship I've ever had because all I have to do is give them $50 a year. But how many museums really expect our visitors to see us in the same way, as their friends? At Google, we actually have a word that we use to talk about friendliness and institutional culture. That word is googliness. We use the word googly to talk about the kinds of people who we want to work with. I don't know if there's a formal definition for it anywhere, but here are some of the things that it means to me. Someone who's googly is the whole package. They're curious, they're brilliant, they're fun to work with, they're really outgoing and generous, and honestly, the best compliment I can get is not being just told that I'm googly, but being told that I'm googly and look 17. So keep that in mind if you ever need to ask for a favor. Okay, so I'm going to take a bet that none of you has ever actually done this at your own institution, like gone around your museum and talked to all the people you know and your colleagues and your visitors and called them by like your museum adjective, as like it's some kind of compliment or something. But never fear, because we're going to do that together. I'm going to give you the next 15 seconds. Yes, I'm very generous. That's my googliness showing through. And you're going to take your institution's name or acronym. You're going to add a suffix like li or ius, and then add as many vowels as it takes to make it sound good. Ready? 1, 2, go. All right. Now, on the count of 3, you're going to shout out whatever word you just came up with, and please shout it loud. I know you normally get 2 chances, but I'm not that generous. These slides are on a timer, and let's be honest, it's not like anyone's tweeting this. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're all shouting, I couldn't hear any of those. But I'm going to take a bet that whatever you just said is nothing you would ever want to call one of your colleagues or be called yourself. All right? And if that didn't work for you, I have a theory about why. Whatever word you just thought of instantly summons to your mind the very first core immediate traits and descriptors that you think of when you think of your institution's identity. And while you may have at least thought of something, odds are none of those words would be anything you would use to describe a real person. Even though we are the advocates for our institution, we are the believers, we are the people who want to see our institutions by the same kinds of words that describe googly, curious, inquisitive, exciting. We even ourselves fall into the trap of seeing them first and foremost by words like historic and educational. If our institutions are going to be living, breathing, changing members of our communities, maybe even as friends, then it only makes sense that the most core traits we think we associate with them should be real human traits. So how do you know which traits to use? Okay, I said I'd only ever give this talk if the Cubs were in the World Series, so I've had a couple years to think about this, and here are a few ideas I've come up with. All right, number 1, you always want to start with your staff. The word institution makes it sound like your building stays steady while people come and go. That's not true, and we know it. Your people define who you are, they evolve who you are, so think about what traits make up the people who will most likely achieve success. Number 2, choose traits that anyone can have or value. Prioritize traits that can be shared by anyone from anywhere. Avoid using traits or values that imply that they're shared more or valued more by some people than others. The reason why words like historic and educational often fall short when we use them and feature them as parts of our core identity is really like, whose history are we talking about? Whose teachings are we valuing? Cast a wide net with your definitions, and that's one of the key to being more inclusive. Number 3, don't try to do it all. I know we tend to think that our institutions are so fabulous that we are responsible for accommodating every single emotional need that our visitors might ever have or want. But if you really think about your friends, odds are there's one you go to when you need a drink, there's one you will go to when you want to laugh. We surround ourselves with people who enrich our lives collectively. So get to know your neighbors. What organizations are in your community that make up your visitors' friend group? And how can you enrich their lives together? All right, you, MCNers, you are at the forefront of introducing your visitors to your museum. You are the party host. You are the social media managers, the engagers, the thoughtful experts who lead the way. So I have a challenge for you. I don't want you just to think about being human-centered at this conference. I know that's the theme and it's great, but think a little bit more, push yourself a little bit more, and think about how you can be more human and be more of a friend. Thank you.